Hey guys, it's Generalkidd here. How's everyone doing today? So, for today's video, I'm showing you guys 7 Halo 3 secrets that were hidden in plain sight, but that you weren't meant to see. So, let's get right into it. The first one is the true Valhalla man cannons. Now, I've only just noticed this one very recently, but it's always been there this entire time in plain sight, and I just never noticed it until now, after like decades. So, looking into the man cannon lift with a scoped weapon like a sniper rifle, or even in forge mode, if you look at the bottom layer, underneath the bottom layer of the man cannon here, and you look into the center, you can kind of make out what appears to be a dark cube inside. It's gonna be a little bit difficult to see, but you can kind of make it out at certain angles. You can see like the background and then the cube itself. This cube is what powers the 2 main man cannons on Valhalla. And it's an actual object too. You can see an outline of it slightly with the sniper scope. So without this cube, these man cannons just don't do anything, even with that gravity effect that you see there. Now, you don't need mods or glitches to see it, but just for your reference, this is what the cube actually looks like if you move it out. It has a texture that makes it blend in even further with the background. So it's very easy to miss it, and that's why I didn't really notice it until just recently, but it's always been there. Now for number 2, the real airlifts on Diamondback. Diamondback was a Halo Online map that was added to Halo Online by 343, or created by Saber Interactive for Halo Online, and that game was shut down but was later revived by the community in the form of El Dorito. And later, the tags for Diamondback were added to Halo 3's mod tools for MCC officially by 343. But they never added it to the actual MCC, so the only way to play on this map on MCC is if you have the PC version and you've installed the Halo Online map pack from the Steam Workshop. But if you do have Halo Online, El Dorito, or this map pack on MCC, then you'll be able to see this little tiny DaVinci cube on this map, which also powers the air cannon just like Valhalla, and it is visible on the sniper rifle scope as well. This is the only one on this map that is visible. All the others are not visible or have something else, which we'll cover in a future video too. Now for number 3, continuing with this trend of little hidden objects powering grav lifts, this next one is the man cannon on Skybridge. Also another map that was meant for Halo Online, but cut completely. It wasn't even in the El Dorito build, I'm pretty sure. And it was later added to MCC by 343 for the mod tools only, and therefore for the PC version only. But it is a very complete map. But this man cannon here, it has a little triangle, a little floating triangle underneath it. Very easy to miss again, but once you see it, you can't really unsee it, and you'll know like it's always there. But that little triangle has like a really stretched out DaVinci Code error texture on it. And the man cannon on the building on the opposite side also has the same little triangle with the DaVinci Code invalid texture on it. Now, there's a bunch of other man cannons on this map, but there's one more man cannon that also has a little hidden object underneath it that powers it. I mean, a lot of these, pretty much all of these are powered by like a little secret object, but only a few are actually visible to you in plain sight, which is the purpose of this video. But each man cannon has something else underneath them, a different object, but most of them are pretty well hidden as intended. But this one here has a little floating shard, or triangle with a shield texture on it. It does not have the DaVinci Code error texture. It actually has a different shield texture that's even animated. But this one's a lot harder to spot, but you can see it without flying up close to it. You can just use a sniper rifle to scope in. But it just powers the man cannon just like the other one too. Now for number 5. This one's a classic, but I do want to cover this again, because a lot of people just never believe it when I tell them how the Guardians on Sandtrap actually work. So if you scope in on the edge of Sandtrap to the towers up there, you can kind of see like a floating sphere, and that little sphere is the classic DaVinci Code Easter egg on this map. But what this actually is the actual Guardian on this map. It just sits there, it can even rotate, it tracks players out in the minefield, and it fires these really faint sentinel beams into the minefield. It's it's very visible when you're up close to it, but you weren't meant to see that. Instead, once you're on the ground in the minefield, like, you think there's a minefield there, because when you walk around, mines just come out of the ground and blow up. But that's not what's actually happening. This little DaVinci Code Easter egg, it fires that really faint sentinel beam into the ground, and wherever it hits spawns the mines. And the beam is really faint once it's in the map, but you could still kind of see it occasionally from certain angles. But it doesn't matter what it hits, anything can spawn the mines. So that is what that actually is, and you could see it just by scoping in. Now, number 6, this is another classic, the DaVinci Code towers. So these towers are always there at certain parts of the mission, and you can always see them, but you probably just didn't know that they were the DaVinci Code towers. The towers, so when you reach certain parts of the mission, it would despawn other parts of the map. Instead of loading the entire world in, it just only loads certain sections in. So instead of despawning the towers, the game will spawn these fake towers that you see here. So right now there's 2 fake towers. You can see one of the fake towers from this part of the map. And if you look really closely with a weapon you can zoom in with, like the plasma pistol, because there's no like sniper rifle this part, you can see a little sliver of the DaVinci Code textures on the inside part of the tower. It's really hard to make out, but it is there. But you can see a tiny sliver from within the map, no glitches or mods needed. Of course, at this point, you could just do the glitch to see the entire tower and spawn all of them, but you don't need to do this to be able to see the towers, and you don't need to do this to be able to see the DaVinci Code texture on the towers. I mean, you can't really see much of it from within the map under normal circumstances, but you can make out a little bit of it from certain angles. So, for number 7, the last one we'll be looking at, this one is actually right on 343 Guilty Spark himself. So, during the boss fight against Guilty Spark, if you lasered him twice, and it's easier to see this in theater mode, but you can see this without theater mode. So, if you get up close to him in theater mode, and then you zoom in inside of him and look at the bottom part, there is a tiny DaVinci Code sphere inside, or just a sphere with the error texture on it. But I call it DaVinci Code because that's what people used to call it back in the day, and it's a pretty nifty name for that texture. It's just a fun name. But that is a little tiny sphere there, and it is what powers one of Guilty Spark's abilities, either his main beam attack or the gravity field that keeps you back. I forgot which one it was. Now, if you laser him a 3rd time, before he explodes, once again, if you fly up in theater mode and you look up close, the first sphere is still there, but if you go from the other side or from certain other angles, you can actually make out a second sphere, an even tinier one. So look really closely here. See that little tiny dot there? That tiny little dot is another DaVinci Code sphere, but it's super small and it's really hard to see, but it is possible to see this. And if you're wondering how you can see this out theater mode, you gotta do it on co-op. One player has to distract Guilty Spark, while the other person can get up as close as they can and zoom in with like a sniper rifle or something, while Guilty Spark is focusing his beam on other players. But these DaVinci Code spheres, they power both his beam weapon and his gravity field. So there you guys have it. Those are the 7 hidden Halo 3 secrets that are there in plain sight. No glitches, no mods needed to see them, but you weren't meant to see them anyways. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video and found it to be interesting. If you did, make sure to leave a like, leave thoughts and comments. Anything else you may check out or look into, any questions you have, just leave them in the comments down below. But aside from that, make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye guys!